Welcome to DDT Wrestling, a podcast of Daddy Daughter Talks Wrestling, a
Woo!
podcast of two wrestling fans that just want to talk about events going on, our opinions, and our views of the world of pro wrestling, whether it's what's going on now or past events. I'm John, wrestling fan forever, and this is my daughter, Wrist. And basically, we all know when you're a wrestling fan, you're kind of in a box. Nowadays, it's more pop culture, but when I was growing up, it was embarrassing to be a fan of men in tights wrestling each other. So, what did I do when I got older? I made my kids wrestling fans. And now we would have conversations while Raw is going on, and like, you know what? Why not just talk about this here?
Why
and
not?
and and create like a little community of wrestling fans that just want to share their opinions. So here we are. So again, I'm John, and this is my daughter, Riss.
Yes, guys, I am Riss. I'm the daughter. Give my dad all of the credit for my wrestling intelligence. Been watching since I was 4 years old, and now I'm 22, so we could say that it is an addiction. But yeah, we just want to create a community, and we're excited to get started.
And again, this is more of a positive. Like you see everywhere, WWE sucks, AEW sucks, or slandering people in a profession that I've loved watching. I can't disrespect these people because I'm not stepping in no ring.
No.
So this is what I always thought about kind of just doing, just talking wrestling with people, with friends.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing like going to a wrestling event and the person next to you that you don't know, just kind of sharing that love. So I'm like, let's do this right here. Anyway, let's get started. Let's talk about the events we saw this week. Thing that stood out for me, if I think about like Monday Night Raw, we had Jey Uso confront Gunther, and he kind of had one of the hardest lines that he said. He main evented a WrestleMania, and he didn't. Well, we
Mm-hmm.
had the previous week where Gunther got back to his petty ways, and he said that the best thing about Jay is that he's a tag team wrestler. He said
Yes.
you're a really good tag team wrestler. So I kind of feel like that they're setting something up here, but that stood out. That stood out to me. You had the Rollins and Drew McIntyre fight each other. I don't know where they're going with that. I
Yeah.
still feel like we got a common bond right there, but
Yes.
they're at odds. So anyway, what stood out to you in Raw?
They opened the show with Nia Jax attacking Rhea Ripley. I was a little nervous. Rhea is notorious for getting injured for attacks, but lucky enough, she's okay. But they opened that show with that, which I thought was pretty hot. And then that set up their Saturday Night Mid Event match that they're gonna have. I'm kind of thinking of, you know, I do think that Rhea Ripley is going to end up winning, which we'll get into predictions forthcoming. But I just wonder how they're going to continue to make Nia strong, as I think that her return to WWE was the best thing that she's done for her career. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they continue that. I think that it could also be a series of matches. You know, it doesn't have to just be a one-off thing. Um, but yeah, the way they opened that show I thought was pretty hot. And then you mentioned Jey Uso and Gunther. Initially, I was like, yeah, this whole feud, Jey is probably not gonna win, especially with what happened with him and Gunther for the Intercontinental Champion. But with the back and forth that they were having, I don't know. The way they're kind of building this makes it seem like Jey Uso might have a fighting chance, which is shocking to say about Gunther. But one of the things that I've seen on the ether is how people are perceiving Gunther's world title reign in comparison to his Intercontinental Championship reign. Do you think that they're at the same level, or if there was one that was better?
I think the thing that he did do was he really raised the credibility of that Intercontinental title. And for
Right.
some reason, once he got this world championship, it's like it was just him and Damian Priest.
Yeah.
And they had a little run with Sami Zayn, but it's like they're not putting focus on that title. It seems like everything is Cody and Roman Reigns right now. It seemed
That's
like
very
whatever
true.
creative is doing. They're focusing on that, and Gunther kind of got lost. So it makes it appear that his title reign is weak. Where
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with him. I don't know. They went through this phase where Gunther was like, "Am I a face?
He
Am
was
I a
good and
heel?"
like
Oh,
recycling and giving to
no, no,
charity.
you're a bastard. You know, get back to your cold hearted, cutting people down, your condescending ways. That's my
Yes.
Gunther.
Yes.
So I don't know if there's just an issue with the challengers that he's having, or they're just like kind of putting his booking in the back burner to
Mhm.
everything. It's not. I don't think it's anything to do with Gunther. I think it's everything to do with the focus that they're putting. But I want to go back to what you said about Nia Jax and Rhea. I think like Nia is at this stage where you can kind of throw her almost with anybody because she is the one of the few legitimate heels. Like Nia isn't right about something.
No.
Almost every heel in WWE is right about something.
It's
She's just
logic.
she's just an
A
ass.
meme. She's
She
just a
just wants
meme
to
queen.
hurt people. She wants to
Yep.
be like she wants to be at the top. She wants people to look
Exactly.
at her that way. And she's been having bangers. She's been having bangers of matches. Like this run has been like on point for her.
Amazing.
Definitely. So all right, so what else do we have? We had the on Raw. So we had Kevin Owens. He confronted
Oh
Sammy.
yes.
I think they like planting seeds. They're planting
Yes.
seeds for something down the line. Like I don't foresee, and we'll, like you said, we'll get into predictions. I don't foresee Sammy helping Owens,
Neither do
and
I.
Owens definitely is not going to help Sami Zayn.
No chance.
But so we had that, and then we had Drew versus Seth, and again, I
Hmm.
don't know where they're going with that,
Neither do
but
I. They're supposed to be friends,
we'll
but
see.
slow burn.
We'll see because once again, you have a heel that's right in
Yes.
Drew, and you have a face tweener guy
Hmm.
that's right also.
Yes.
So I'm just waiting for the moment where it's them two, and I think Kevin Owens and they form a
A
new
faction.
shield,
Shield.
a new faction.
The
Uh,
anti-Roman Reigns.
Other events this week, if we go to maybe NXT and maybe some TNA and SmackDown,
Yes.
let's see. I it is amazing still on NXT. They just don't have an issue with building women. Like the women drive the show, and I think there's a real issue of there's. I think there's going to be an issue of challengers for Obafemi as champion. Like I think Ethan Page is probably on his way to the main roster.
Hmm.
Um, and I just don't see anybody else credible. I think Trick is going to be headed there. They're trying to build up Bourne. They're trying to build him up to be a contender, but
Right.
it's just not there. You got to hope somebody from the inside, from the outside, can bring
Or do you
something.
think that perhaps this new TNA deal will open the door for maybe some new challengers? I don't know all the TNA roster, but I mean, I know some people were talking about certain names that I can't remember about, oh, that he might look good with Obafemi or they might look good with Obafemi. So maybe on the NXT roster, I definitely agree. They kind of need some help there, but
Right.
I think there might be something a little bit refreshing with this TNA deal, just to kind of get people to cycle out on both brands, um, and get some
It,
new matches.
I think that would help. It would be fresh. But
That's
my
true.
thing about the TNA deal, now we've seen they've been peppering in some NXT people for the TNA deal.
Yes.
If they want to be legit, they'll have some main roster. We'll have Jacob
Yes.
Fatu show up and beat the heck out of Joe Hendry, or we'll have like
Yes.
just some main roster interaction. I really want to
Unit.
because I think that would really help. That would really help their brand for TNA.
Absolutely.
It'll help boost more stars. Um, we'll see what WWE's agenda is. Maybe they'll try to scoop them up. TNA,
I know,
another
right? And
acquisition.
just
But
absorb them.
there definitely is an issue with the male rosters. I don't know the males on the roster of NXT. I don't know
Mhm.
what that is. If the focus is because you can probably list 5 to 10 women on the NXT roster that should get spotlight. But then there's some guys in
Absolutely.
NXT, to me at least, that are somewhat like meh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
he doesn't have a bad look, but eh, okay.
it's true.
What else did we see on NXT?
Um. Oh, Roxanne Perez, Cora Jade, Bailey, they're doing their thing. I think this is a great avenue for especially Roxanne to go to the main roster. But again, talking about how stacked that women's roster is on NXT, and Bailey is doing her due diligence of, I guess, being the one to help out the youngsters, kind of like how Becky Lynch did that one time. So it's pretty cool to see her doing that. But I mean, Roxanne Perez just bleeds stardom. Like, I think she's ready for the
Yeah.
main roster. And I think that all of her segments have been really good with Bailey. Like, it didn't feel awkward, because I feel like sometimes when you have like an old head going back and talking to the younger roster, it's like, okay, they're forcing this. But I just felt that the way they were playing out those segments was pretty good.
I'll argue that while it's good that Bailey is kind of doing a Becky Lynch thing, I
Hmm.
don't think Roxanne really needs it. I
You are
think
not
it'll,
wrong.
the push or the bump or the rub, wrestling
Hmm.
term,
Yeah,
um, from Bailey is good, but I
right.
think you can
She's
have
ready.
Roxanne Perez show up in that Rumble. People's gonna know who she is. She can get
Absolutely.
heat. I don't think she. I think she could help out some of the other women there.
Hmm.
There's some
Absolutely.
women like we talked about. They're entertaining, but maybe they can get that extra little notch. But I
Absolutely.
like Bailey in this role. I like that they have her doing this. They definitely need to do it. I think they need more main roster people that aren't really being used
I
to
agree.
go back down there. There's a couple other people, like why are they on the main roster? Just put them in NXT, especially with men. Like have some of
Absolutely.
these main guys challenge Obafemi.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, so yeah, NXT, TNA, we had the Mustafa Ali. I am a believer in that guy. I
And
hated when he was released from WWE.
Ali
I
we
hope,
trust.
he goes to the top. Like to me, he can't do any wrong. He puts out bangers,
He's
and it
amazing.
seems like I don't know if it wasn't the opportunity, but it seems like once he went to Indies, he found his character. He
Yes.
took that extra level. Before, he was just a guy that did great moves,
Yes.
but and you didn't know he had this in him because I don't think he was given the opportunity.
True.
But I'm digging him. So we had that, and of course, Cardona was a surprise opponent for
Hmm. Joe
Joe Hendry.
Hendry.
Joe Hendry. So they finally. I personally feel like yes, he got the title. He's still popular, but I kind of wish they gave him that title a couple of events ago.
Long overdue.
In, in September, you had people like I saw videos of NFL players in minicamp singing the song.
Singing the song and doing the dance.
And yes, and I'm like, that's the strike while the
I was
iron is hot.
hmm
Strike while the iron is hot. He was on on NXT, which was a surprise.
Yes, it
The
was.
song, I'm at work doing meetings and the song is in my head. And
It
I'm like,
stuck
I
it. Yeah.
can't get this song out of my head. So I'm glad he's a champion, but man, this merger can do wonders for him if they really, really want to push this. Your goat. He called
My
out your
goat.
goat.
My
He
sunshine.
called, he called out your goat and your sunshine,
Yes.
John Cena.
John Cena.
If they want exposure for TNA, put your champion against John Cena. Like that is
That
definitely
would
something.
be
Yeah,
amazing. And I know
Okay,
John Cena would be very excited to go on TNA. He would be very excited to do that.
it's something he never did. I think he would.
Mhm.
I think he's gonna just try to do everything.
Just for his
I think if
last
you
go
really
around,
just do it all.
just do it all.
AEW, like whatever.
Just go to AEW.
Let's go to AEW. Um. Okay. So SmackDown. SmackDown.
Mm,
Um. Let's
yes.
see. We had a promo by Charlotte, which I will get into a little later when we get to our
Yes.
topics. We had Kevin Owens confronted Matthew McConaughey.
Oh my gosh.
And he is my current GOAT. I love Kevin Owens, by the
Yes.
way. Um, the guy just he gets the little things, and I just thought there's no way you can have an Oscar award winning actor in your crowd and not have some interaction with him. So
Exactly.
I'm glad he did that, and he kept doing that.
Yes,
That's
he
like
did.
his little thing, like messing with the crowd or whatever. You pointed out the thing where he grabbed the pin from the little
And
kid and
and
threw
threw
it.
it. And
Yeah, I love that guy.
he was facing Jimmy Uso and was wearing a Feel the Glow shirt. Talk
How do
about
you how
petty.
do you feel about so SmackDown was 3 hours again. How are you feeling about like do you think it was paced well? How do you feel about that show? Because we think about times we watch Raw when it was 3 hours and it dragged.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think I felt the drag in this SmackDown.
You mentioned that it was 3 hours, and I didn't know that actually.
Right.
I
Right.
didn't know that. I just learned. I was like, it was 3 hours. Like I was just about to say, oh, it was 3 hours. It didn't
Now,
feel like
there's a crap ton of commercials.
that. Is true. Their commercial length time is getting ridiculous. Like that.
they
That is
literally
something that I noticed.
they literally had a moment when Nick Aldis was coming down to set up that
Yeah,
3-on-3 women's match, and they went to commercial
it's a
while he had
commercial.
a mic walk. Like, come on, commercial
Come on,
placement.
man.
Come
Yeah,
on, producers. What are you
yeah.
doing?
Get it together.
But
Yeah.
you know, I think there was some pacing. There was definitely some good pacing because you just mentioned you didn't feel that the length of time. You know, you
No, I
feel
did
it when
not.
the commercials are coming on,
Yes.
but you had Jacob Fatu cut a promo like he was about to do a rap battle, which takes me
Mm-hmm.
back to Samoa
Samoa
Joe.
Joe.
Samoa Joe, he does
Yes.
those promos like he's doing a rap battle, and I think, man, that he is gonna explode on the scene once
Yes.
they really strap the rocket to him. Um, oh, I just had a thought. I'll save that, but um, so yeah, again no Roman Reigns.
No Roman Reigns.
No Roman Reigns. So we have more of Cody setting up. We have Damian Priest
On yes.
on SmackDown. How do you
Got
feel about that?
the portal or the absorption. At first I was indifferent, but as soon as I learned that he was no longer going to touch Finn Balor, I was ecstatic because that has been going on for
Are you
months.
sure?
I
Because
don't
at the
know.
Rumble,
Then Finn Balor gets absorbed. Oh no. Well, at the Rumble, who even knows? But yeah, I think it's fresh for him. I'm upset that they had Carmelo Hayes job to him, but I think that this will be a good new slate for him to have some competition. And then in the back, Cody Rhodes acknowledged him, said welcome to SmackDown. He said, I'll see you soon, champ. So who knows if they have any intentions of pursuing something like that, maybe giving him a title shot or something. I know so, sometimes they do this weird thing where they're out of ideas and they're like, we'll just give a title shot to anyone who mentions it. There was one time where Dom had a title shot with Cody Rhodes, and I'm like, hey, anybody can get something. So maybe they'll give Damian Priest a shot there. But I do think that the SmackDown scene for him is refreshing.
right. I would be interested in seeing him as a heel without Judgment Day. That might be
Mm.
interesting to me. That might be interesting. But let's see. We had the Miz do his thing. I
Miz is
actually
on
was
TV
looking
big
forward to
time.
the idea. I was looking forward to the idea of Grayson Waller and Austin Theory and him doing
I
their
thought it would be
cutting up.
funny.
I
Yeah.
thought it would be pretty entertaining, but they, of course, they took them. I think they
Short
could
lived.
use I think they could use a little shake up and go to Raw. Maybe those
Yeah.
two.
Yeah.
I like them, but me, pretty deadly.
Yes, boys.
I hate that they're the fodder for just about every team because I feel like they're a true tag team. I want to see
Yes.
they're entertaining to me, but
Yes.
I guess everybody can have their day. Just like Carmelo Hayes, he's gonna have
Yeah.
his time. He's
He
too
will.
good.
He's
He's too
way
good for
too
them
good
not to push.
to waste it.
So,
Yeah.
um, what else? What did we miss?
Oh,
I
on
mean, we had
SmackDown, how the entire women's roster announced that they'll be in the Royal Rumble at once.
they were like,
I was
"Holy crap, we didn't push the women's Royal Rumble! Get down there!
like, let's go.
Everybody get in the ring! You're coming for the Royal Rumble! Okay, it's your turn." Yeah, that's
Yeah.
basically what that was.
Hmm.
They really didn't. I don't know what that was. They just at the last minute they said, "Hey, we got to push this thing." It's literally
A
a
week.
week
One
away, and
week.
yeah, and nobody has pushed it. So those are the events that we talked about for this week. So with that, now let's get into some of the topics that we want to discuss with you. So first, I want to talk about Mr. Jay Uso. The dude is over. He got
Yeet.
people doing this. He got Michael
Yeet.
Cole doing it. He got people yeeting. They just
Hmm.
created a yeet shirt for every city. He got the Brock Lesnar treatment. I'm waiting for yeet in Greensboro. Um, there's been talks about the views of Jey Uso. Is he like a slightly above a mid Carter, or do you see him as someone that can be world champion? Personally, I'm probably in that I was in that point of view of like I just can't see him as world title. But something kind of switched up. I feel like the energy he's bringing in, I think, is kind of the same thing with Joe Hendry. Strike while the iron is hot. Like
Yes.
Jay Uso is so over right now. His matches are solid or they're good. He has charisma with his promo. Even
Hmm.
I think even if you took Yeet away, Yeet is kind of what got you know wrestling fans like catch sing-alongs, sing
Yeah.
along with Jay Uso. People like doing Yeet. I feel like he definitely has peeled his way away from tag team and peeled himself away from like that whole bloodline thing. I mean, there's still connection because they're family, but
True.
I think he can capture that title, and we'll get to predictions. I think he could. If he is the champion, I think he can definitely carry the title. I don't know whether he'll be a storyline champion or will he be a champion that he is our guy. We're running with him.
Hmm.
How about you?
Yeah, like one of the things I always kind of ask myself is this person able to put somebody else over? And if they do have that ability, then I think they're in championship status. There was one time where Jey Uso went on NXT and he cut a promo with Trick Williams. And Jey Uso looked like a star, like a top star next to Trick Williams, who was the NXT champion at the time. So looking at that, I really do think, you hit the nail on the head when you said he's hot right now. Don't waste it when people kind of dilute it down. This is the time to do it. He doesn't just have kids, he has every age on his side wanting to eat, wanting to go crazy doing that arm workout in the crowd. So I think his time is now. I think they shouldn't waste it. And I think this
You're
can
John
really
Cena
show
reference.
how great of a champion he can be. Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna say a name.
Uh oh.
That name is LA Knight. They
I
didn't
was
like
just thinking that. Oh my gosh, yes.
like but the problem with LA Knight is that he was hot right at the height of the
The bloodline.
bloodline.
The
They
worst.
wasn't taking that title off
No.
of Roman Reigns.
Mm-mm.
So yeah, and I feel like his fame is kind of simmered a little bit. He still gets the pop from the crowd, but it's not like dude was getting crazy. He was
Absolutely.
crazy over. But it's wrestling. They can take me and strap the rocket to me, and if they want to make me a
That's true.
star, which is going to go into my next point.
Yeah.
Um, but
Mhm.
yeah, I think Jay is ready. I wouldn't mind seeing it. I'd be fine with him.
Mhm.
I think it'd definitely be entertaining. But my next topic. So we saw a promo, and I don't know why they did this because Royal Rumble is about surprises, and we haven't seen Charlotte Flair in over a year. Why
Yes.
not have that as a surprise? They had her basically announce that she's coming back, and that she's
Right.
coming back in the Rumble. And one thing she said in that promo was, "You don't have to say you're the GOAT for people to recognize you as the GOAT." And she promptly called herself the GOAT. So I'm looking at this, and I'm like, is Charlotte Flair the GOAT of this era, or I guess of any era?
Of any
Is
era.
Charlotte Flair the GOAT? Charlotte Flair, she has charisma.
Yes.
She can wrestle. She can definitely do the moves. She can definitely put on an entertaining match when she wants. But I won't go there. Um, the thing is that I've always had is I hear people put her at this crazy level, and maybe it's me. I just don't see it. I look at the other four horsewomen. I put at
Mhm.
the top of the four horsemen right now Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch had
Mhm.
Stone Cold Steve Austin level of being over doing her the man run. I don't think there's a
Yes.
single woman that can say
No.
that they got that level of like appeal, that level of being over. As much as Charlotte
They.
Flair like woos and she has a name, but it's not nepotism. She is good. I
Yes.
just don't
She's
get.
great.
She is great. She's not good. She's great. I just don't
Yes.
see how people elevate her as the GOAT. Like I see
Right.
arguments all the time, like, and Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, and people will want to put, oh, she's 15-time champion. It's wrestling. It's not
Yes.
MMA. It's not football. It's wrestling.
It's wrestling.
They chose to put her in that spot.
Right.
They could have chosen. They could have picked any of one of those women to be it.
Mhm.
Um, is she that much better than all of the women on a roster? Having a name helps, but
Yes.
they could have given that many titles to Becky Lynch.
Yes.
Sasha Banks, I think, is horrible. That's a woman that over. She can wrestle.
Mhm.
You got people that want to criticize her running AEW. I mean, you gotta. It takes two to tango.
Yeah,
And
exactly. That's
like
the booking.
she's had some bangers with Statlander, and
Yes.
she can work.
Yes, she can.
Her idol is Eddie Guerrero. She has that Lucia type style when she
Yes.
wrestles. She pull out
Mhm.
a move that I've never seen before. Sometimes
Mhm.
um, Bailey is a freaking ring general. Like
Yes.
she she just she I think she's better at psychology than most women on the
And
roster.
every yeah.
Yeah, and then people will say she's the best athlete on the roster. Like, did something happen
To
to Bianca
Bianca
Belair
Belair.
or
Did she
Naomi?
disappear? Or did something
Naomi
happen to Naomi?
Naomi suffered through the diva era, and she's still good and relevant. And
Yes.
then you know what? I didn't even name Rhea Ripley yet. This woman has gotten herself to top tier of like in women's wrestling. And
Mhm.
I name those names in particular because so for me, I have these women above
Mhm.
Charlotte Flair and her 15 titles.
Mhm.
And I don't even look at titles as a person's like greatness. One of my favorite wrestlers of all time is Jake the Snake Roberts. He didn't hold
Mhm.
the world title in WWF or WWE. But Jake the Snake, his persona inspired like DDP, it inspired Stone Cold. Like that just the way he was. That's why he's one of my goats. And he didn't have to have the title for it. And I think having her 15 title rings is a reason why she's the GOAT. I don't see it. But
Right.
anyway, that's my TED talk on Charlotte Flair. So, what about you? What topics do you have that are in your head?
Well, you already know who I'm going to start off with. My goat, my sunshine, the light of my life. John Cena. Will he get number 17? One can
Mm,
only hope. Now, the unfortunate thing about John Cena is that he's a humble guy. He is a guy that cares to elevate somebody else. He's not selfish. So he would be happy to not get the title. He'd be happy to have his last year not winning matches. His goal is to just be involved with the people, and I respect him for that. But I want him to win that 17. And one of the questions that I have is, how will he do it? That Royal Rumble is very stacked, and it's like it's really hard to guess how they're gonna end that match. We talk about the final four in each corner of the ring. It's gonna be a cinematic match. It's gonna be the main event for next week, and I'm looking forward to it. But everybody has such a good story for why they need to win that match, and I don't know if his story is going to be the one that they ultimately choose. And then as far as the Elimination Chamber goes, I would rather him win the Royal Rumble. I would rather him get that number 3, be on that tier list like Stone Cold, than get on that tier list like Ric Flair. Just have him get get all of the gold, have him get all of the accolades for his last year. But he's just not that guy that would be selfish about that kind of thing. And regardless of what he does, it's going to be a great experience. But how will he get this number 17? There are only two options, and those two options are Royal Rumble or Elimination Chamber. And based on what some predictions are in the ether, I don't know if the Royal Rumble is going to be that avenue, which hurts my heart because I just think that moment would be so amazing. There was one time where you asked me what my favorite wrestling moment was, and within 2 seconds I said, "Oh, 08 John Cena Royal Rumble." And to that you responded, "Wow, that was quick." Like, I want this to happen so bad, and I'm sure so many people do as well. But he deserves it. If there's a question on whether he deserves this number 17, he absolutely does. I was not in love with the whole him versus Cody and him potentially winning or losing to Cody, but with the way some people painted that picture of, hey, he'll take off his high tops, he'll take off his boots and hand it over to Cody Rhodes, and that'll be, him passing the torch. That is a beautiful picture. But I want that 17. I'm selfish. I want it.
so, I think 17 is going to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen at WrestleMania. I think
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's going to be the Rumble,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's going to be one of them. I think he's getting that world title shot. I think it's going to be an amazing, dramatic match with his facial expressions in the match and him straining. And Cody. I think the danger is having people boo Cody, but that's a whole different topic.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think he's going to get it, but it could be at SummerSlam. It could be they could build it up for that.
True.
Um, I would love to see it at Mania. Him winning 17 at Mania is chef's kiss to me. Does he deserve it? Hell yeah, he deserves it. This
Mm-hmm.
is a man that they came out of the Attitude Era and they wanted to go into that PG era.
Mm-hmm.
And he was at the forefront of that. The guy doing all the other things outside the ring, the merch. The dude can cut a promo out of nowhere. Like, and it comes off so like we always talk about CM Punk, the way he does his promos, like, oh my God, like, is this real? Is this like you believe CM Punk? I think right
Yes.
now Jacob Fatu and Kevin Owens, those are guys that
Yeah.
like you believe him. But John Cena, I feel like his off the cuff is can't be challenged by he cooked Rock, he cooked Punk, Like,
Ugh,
I
cook
wouldn't
Roman.
want to be in a ring across from John Cena.
No.
Peak John Cena in his pro. Now he's all humble and a good, and I just want to inspire people. Like, he's that guy, but he deserves
Yeah.
17. You damn Skippy, he deserves number 17. Like, Flair has held the record. Like, okay, but we're in this era, and that is a guy that for this generation, he is absolutely the GOAT. So
Yes. Absolutely. Fingers crossed for that one. But my next topic is talking about somebody who might also be considered somebody's GOAT, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, good old Rocky. And the question that I have is, did The Rock mess up the Bloodline arc? So on Raw debuting on Netflix, we were expecting some crazy developments in the Bloodline story as the Roman Reigns was going against Solo Sikoa for, is it called the Uafala? I don't want to pronounce that, but that was the match that we were looking forward to, and we knew that The Rock was going to be there. He had his whole tweet explaining that he was going to be there, and we were looking for some very dramatic occurrences. But following the Roman Reigns being victorious, The Rock then goes into the ring in his very dramatic fashion as he does. He lifts it up and he puts it right on the neck of Roman Reigns. We see Paul Heyman in the corner. The camera pans out in weird ways, but that's how the show ends. They didn't give us any development to that, and a part of me is wondering if that is the bow tie on the Bloodline story. If there's no Hollywood Rock, there's no corporate Rock, there's no heel Rock, which I'd argue is the best form of the Rock. Why is my question to that? Why is that the end to the Bloodline? If that is the end to the Bloodline, I feel like this whole Bloodline thing started when I was 17 years old. I'm 22 years old, so it's been very long. And I just feel that that was such an anticlimactic way to end it, especially with the whole dream match of Rock and Roman. Could Rock and Roman still happen? I'm sure it could. But if you ask me, with the whole Dr. Stone, different realities, if I wanted a reality of The Rock turning on Roman Reigns, or the Rock creating some kind of dramatic ending to that show in order to progress this story, I would absolutely choose that. There's that avenue for cinema. Um, the Rock is a movie star. He knows what it means to have a cinematic experience. He knows what it means to put on a show. So a part of me in my heart hopes and prays that that was not the end to the progression of the bloodline. However, sometimes, you can't control how people feel. I know that The Rock wanted to go against Roman Reigns for the previous WrestleMania, and it just didn't go that way because that's what the people wanted. But I don't know. I want The Rock to set the ego aside if the ego is the factor in the way, to give us cinema, to give us a Marvel Endgame experience. I don't know.
we talked about this, and I said that that ending was if at the in Endgame they all just hugged each other and said, "All right, man, you guys have a
That's
good
it.
life. All
That's
right, we're
it.
done. All right, everybody,
And
thanks
it's
for coming. We're good."
goodbye.
I The one thing that gives me a little hope is, and it's just a promotional video for WrestleMania. They have The Rock all over it, so he's gonna be at WrestleMania, and he's gonna work somebody, whether it's Cody, which would just throw away our whole John Cena thing, or if it's Roman, the match that they wanted. And then he went out, I think he made a comment when he was on NXT because they were talking about it on wrestling talk shows about um, how he went and he hugged Cody and is like, that's the end of the storyline. He went out on NXT and said, just wait, basically like, let us cook, wait to
Yeah.
see where it's going to go. I feel like they're just kind of, as far as The Rock, it's what he wants. He's become Hulk Hogan. That's not going to work for me, brother. What's the
No.
line from The Dark Knight? You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become a villain.
You see yourself become a villain.
But be a villain behind the scenes. Like, We don't know. We don't know. I'm gonna let them cook because they did such a great job, like with this whole thing. The thing is, it started to die down, and then what did they do? They added Sami Zayn, and that gave a whole new
It's
energy
true.
and a whole new direction.
My
And
dog.
so yeah, my dog, and I'm gonna let them cook. I don't know. I have nothing really. I don't know what this is. I don't even know what to think as far as did The Rock kill the bloodline? It apparently seems so. It seems like it's gone. I mean, Roman beat Solo Sokoa, took the Ulafala. Solo came back on SmackDown, didn't have nothing to say. It looks like
said
they want to
said
move
nothing.
toward, yeah, they want to move towards Jacob Fatu maybe having some say so. And we haven't seen him. Maybe they did that because they don't know what to do. It was such laid out right there.
It was right
And,
there.
and the thing is, like, how dramatic was last WrestleMania? Can they possibly top that?
Yes, they can
You
with
know
one
how?
man.
You say it. How can they top? Finish the story. How can they top that?
2 words, 3 syllables. Glass shatter.
Well, there's that. Oh, I thought you was
Oh,
gonna say
oh, my sunshine.
number
No,
17,
that number 17. Yes, but I don't know.
the
Like
glass shatter, huh?
it was right there. Yeah, the glass
The glass
shattering. But
shattering, the moment everybody lose their mind. He stuns 15 people, drinks a beer,
yeah,
and leaves.
drinks a beer
Maybe
and leave.
maybe he comes out and stuns Cody and helps and helps Cena win. Or he comes out and stuns The Rock. We finally get the stunner that he was owed in
the,
last
that
WrestleMania,
the
and
Rock deserved.
and then
Oh my
Roman goes
gosh.
over, maybe.
True.
But all right, what
True.
else?
Next topic is women's Royal Rumble. So there's a lot of hoopla about the men's Royal Rumble, about the 10, 10 entrants that all need a win. But I think that the women's Royal Rumble has the opportunity to give us a lot of surprises, has the opportunity to give us a lot of great storytelling. I mean, that is, of course, if they decide to pursue telling the story at the Women's Royal Rumble. Um, but one of the biggest questions that you brought up was who's out there for Rhea Ripley? Who's out there as a challenge for Rhea Ripley? And I think that one of the entrants in the Royal Rumble could potentially be the one that Rhea Ripley has as an adequate challenger. Um, we were just talking about TNA, and one of the greatest TNA superstars that have made a lot of uh, appearances on WWE is Jordan Grace. And I think that she's been in a Royal Rumble before. It would be very shocking if she wasn't one of the 30 entrants. But I think that would be a great surprise for her to be a part of this Women's Royal Rumble. Um, I think for this Women's Royal Rumble, there's not a lot of space for the nostalgia appeal. I know that in both, they like to have some people from back in the day have entrance and just put on the show to excite all the people. But there's a lot of superstars on all brands, across all brands, that I think would be worth more putting in the Royal Rumble. That NXT roster is completely stacked. Roxanne Perez is not officially moved to the main brand, but she's still an NXT superstar that I think we could see in the Women's Royal Rumble. Julia, who is the NXT Women's Champion, I think would do great in the Royal Rumble as well. And then, of course, Stephanie Vaquer. I think all three of those women they're not guaranteed because they haven't announced it, but I just think that they would be great, quote unquote, surprises. Um, there was, I think it was at a Raw. It was at a Raw or SmackDown, but I think it was at a Raw on Netflix where we saw Nikki Bella in the crowd. And initially we didn't know that they would rekindle this relationship, but maybe she's there for the nostalgia. But I'm most looking forward to potential surprises. Jordan Grace being one of them. There was an NXT where they had a little bit of an Easter egg. Shotzi was holding a doll that looked like spooky Alexa Bliss. Some people think that Alexa Bliss might make a surprise return to this Royal Rumble. That would be That would be amazing. It's been a very long time not having her here, and she was an amazing superstar. Um, some people argue that she kind of got the Charlotte treatment and got a lot of title shots, but I'd argue that her title reigns were very entertaining. And Alexa Bliss has had a lot of different gimmicks, so that'll also be pretty cool to see. And then also potential for Carmella return. I think there's a lot of opportunity for surprises in this women's Royal Rumble. I feel like the men's Royal Rumble, storytelling, drama, like it'll be the main event, of course, but this women's Royal Rumble, I think we're going to get a lot of, there's a lot of unknowns, a lot of, I don't know who's going to win. I can't really predict who's going to win, which I think is very exciting. I think they're going to open the show with the Women's Royal Rumble like they usually do, just to kind of get the crowd hot.
Right.
And it'll definitely, just really start off all these appetites for that full event. Um, but yeah, I am backing Jordan Grace for being a winner, which we'll have our predictions for Royal Rumble forthcoming. But one of the things that I'm most looking forward to in the Women's Royal Rumble is the storytelling for Who Done It to Jade Cargill, who died like 3 months ago. Very dramatic scene. I thought that they did a very great job at capturing the moment because it was right when Bianca Belair was having a match, and she had to make the choice.
Did a
Do I go with
run
my
and
friend?
yeah.
Do I win the match? A lot of
I saw
speculations on who did it.
I was gonna say
And
I saw a funny post on Twitter. So I'm like, what if she just fell?
it was like it was just no one.
The
Like
trip. The trip.
literally. Like the camera footage is released and it's just her falling. Oh my gosh. They're
Whoop.
like, you know what, guys? That's the twist. Um, but that would be so funny. But one of the things that I hope they don't do is try to be like, hey, we did a twist, we we pulled a fast one on you, and it's somebody that is kind of like lame and really wouldn't
Like
add much to
man,
the story. Like I want
yeah.
it to be who we're speculating, and everybody's speculating Naomi or Bianca.
Right, right. I mean, yeah. You know what this WWE era seems like more of? Just do what's obvious. They've done that
Yeah.
more often than not in this new era of WWE. But your Jordan Grace point, I would ask this:
Mm,
do you think they need to build her up before they put her in a spot to be in a WrestleMania Women's World Title? Now, WWE fans, um, they they're aware of her because of the
mhm,
presentation. I do know some WWE fans that don't really pay a lot of attention to NXT.
mm,
So
mhm.
I'm sure like that's the job of Michael Cole and everybody else to give us a brief synopsis of who
That's
she is.
true.
They did that when she was the current TNA champion when she was in
Yes.
the last Royal Rumble. So they have
Hmm.
to do that. And if she wins, then they have that little stretch time where she can kind of build herself up. They can
True.
introduce who she is. But I don't know, like, do they have to establish that? If she were to get that title shot, I think you have time to establish her in the elimination chamber.
True.
Um, I feel like we have our predictions. I think they'll go in a different direction, but I would love to see that. I'm a Jordan
Hmm.
Grace fan. That woman can cook. She looks
Hmm.
tremendous. Like I
Oh,
would love. It's a fresh match. I think
yes.
people are thinking like Io, Sky.
Yeah.
I love EO. I don't
Same.
know if I want to see that as a Mania.
A main event.
I don't know if I'm there yet. They
Yeah.
need to sell me on that,
I.
but
I.
it definitely does not have the good problem that the men's Royal Rumble has, where
Yeah.
we don't
It,
know. It could be there's at least five people that could win. Three for sure.
yeah.
Three for sure. Either
That's true.
either Roman, Cena, or Punk. Those are the
Yes.
three, and they would be stupid not to have them three in the ring at the
In
end.
the
But
final four.
we'll save that for when
True.
we discuss that. Anything?
And the
Want to move
final
on?
one.
Oh, the final one.
My final one. That I don't know how people feel about this. the title of this one is called Corporate Cody Rhodes. And the question that I have underneath is, will Cody Rhodes turn heel? Parentheses ever question mark. So Cody Rhodes is obviously, the baby face of the company, and he has been doing wonders. One of the big critiques that people had was, who will be the next John Cena? When John Cena transitioned over into Hollywood, and there really wasn't quite somebody to fill those shoes. Now Cody Rhodes is Cody Rhodes, and John Cena is John Cena, and there really is you do not need to say that somebody has to be John Cena. But I really do think that Cody Rhodes has filled that void of that perfect baby face that everybody loves, and everybody can wear their merch, and kids can just be so excited to see him. And he's just been doing such a great job over these last 4 years, or however long it's been. I remember how surprised people were when he came out when Seth Rollins, did an open challenge, and Seth Rollins gets the assist for Cody Rhodes transitioning back to WWE. But right now, he's in that perfect phase of being a great face, and is that something that WWE wants to give up? I think one of the biggest things that will be indicative of the time frame in which Cody Rhodes turns heel is how the crowd reacts to the potential feuds that he may have with people. Because again, John Cena is on his last year. This is it for John Cena. So they
You,
do need somebody that fills that baby face. And Roman Reigns is not that. Roman Reigns is amazing, but he's not that baby face draw. And that's really necessary. Now I'm somebody who likes chaos. I would love to see Homelander Cody Rhodes. And I think he would do great as a heel. Him being a heel is not something foreign. Cody Rhodes is a superstar that will commit to any bit he's given. So if he's presented with a heel turn, he is going to give you a fantastic cinematic heel turn. But the question is that smart for the business, and how will it happen? So right now, Cody Rhodes is the champion, and there's a lot of people in line, or a lot of people who are potential contenders for him. One of which, who is currently in the basement, is Randy Orton, who was killed by Kevin Owens. When Randy Orton inevitably returns, what is going to happen with him? How is he going to come back? How is he going to you know address Kevin Owens? How is he going to address Cody Rhodes? Randy Orton's probably the superstar that's most notorious for just turning on everybody, so I think it's probably smart to not trust in what he says at face value. But I think I would like to see it, but that is me being selfish, and me being probably moving a little bit too fast. I do think I need to cool my jets if I'm being a realist, because right now Cody Rhodes is in that perfect position of just being that guy, like, especially for when, after you watch pay-per-views and you watch their press conferences, the way that he answers questions to all of the journalists, whether the questions be kind of like, that was not really a good question, or questions that may be controversial, he is so perfect for this
the
brand. He is
politician.
so media trained. He has the full package.
Yeah, he
Um,
does. Well, let me take you on a trip to AEW.
oh yeah,
So, AEW fans are definitely different,
that's true.
and it's not a very face centric
Hmm.
for what he was. It got to
Yeah.
a point where his shtick, that he got booed, and people
Mm.
wanted him to turn. He, the jokes that he ended racism and all of those things, and so it got to a
Yeah.
point where people wanted him to turn heel. People thought it just made
Mhm.
sense because he was getting booed
Yeah.
by the guy that created the company, the guy that is, that helped create it.
That helped
Don't
create.
want to
Yeah.
give him all the credit, but he helped create the company,
Right.
and he didn't want to do it.
Right.
Now, it's different. What's different is that he was creative.
That's
Him
true.
and Kenny Omega and the Bucks, they were creative for that company, along with, of course, Tony Khan. But I'm sure he back then he leaned a lot on them. Um, As far as him being a heel, I don't foresee it. I think he's going to get the John Cena treatment. I think everybody wanted Cena to turn heel just for the sake of him turning heel. He was a heel when he started, when he was Thug Life. um, but I
Work
don't
life.
foresee that. I think there is a danger, though, that he could get the John Cena sucks type of
Yeah.
treatment. I think there's a danger. It's not there, and WWE is so corporate and trying to be mainstream. And like you said, he is the perfect person to stick on a camera, to have host a Saturday Night Live, to have go on mainstream talk shows. It is absolutely
Yes.
Cody Rhodes, and it's Cody Rhodes as a face, a smiling
Yes.
white baby face, holding their
Yeah.
champion title with his suits, his tailored suits, and his
Yes.
loafers on. That is the
Bleach blonde
guy.
hair.
I don't. His bleach blonde hair. He is going to be corporate Cody until maybe if the winds push in a direction, that's where I think it'll go.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, with that,
Totally.
we will go to our predictions. And now we want to go to our predictions for a Saturday Night Main Event. So let's start with basically a grudge match: Braun Strowman and
Mm-hmm.
Jacob Fatu. Of course, I feel like the right call. Jacob Fatu, he's a monster. You're building this guy to something. I don't see anything strange happening. I don't see why Braun Breaker would win this match. I mean, Braun Strowman would win this match. I just don't see it. Are you?
Yeah, he does not need this win at all. He's kind of in that area where a win doesn't really help him. Jacob Fatu, fresh. This is a new match for him. This is, I think, his first solo match on a pay per view. So he needs this, and it
Right.
will definitely kickstart, you know, just what we see in the future of absolute stardom.
Yeah.
So it only makes sense for them to make the right choice, for him to become an unstoppable force.
Braun Breaker and Sheamus. Do you
Mm.
think they put they make Sheamus the Triple Crown guy tonight? I thought they were going to push this to Mania, but they decided to put it here, and maybe they
Mm-hmm.
have other plans. I personally have other thoughts on that. If it is Sheamus that wins, I think Sheamus is going to win this. I
Mm-hmm.
People talk about Gunther's title reign. Braun Breaker's Intercontinental reign has been a nothing reign.
Ooh,
It is
it's been a
not
yawn.
comparable at all to Gunther's
No,
reign. Jay Uso was like a cup of coffee with the title, and they gave it back to Braun
and right
Breaker.
back to Braun Breaker.
This title
Yes,
has done nothing for Braun Breaker. I think put him in the hunt again. He needs adversity. We got to
yes,
figure out if he's more than barking and a spear.
yes.
So I think Sheamus is going to get this title.
Yeah, completely concur. I think it'll be great. Sometimes they like to just like say, you know what, this superstar, they've been in the game for a long time and they have one accolade that they don't have. How about we make people happy? And I think this is a make people happy kind of match. Even though Braun Breaker is over with the crowd because of the barking, I mean, he does heal stuff, but because the crowd likes to do, we're all sheep and we like to just do a sing along, we like to do a chant. Um, so it's hard to sometimes weigh in on if he's actually a face or a heel. So maybe he's in that tweener status, but Sheamus is no doubt a face, and he's kind of in that Teflon area because he's been on the business for so long. But this is just that one thing that he doesn't have, and I'm sure Michael Cole, the other officiating, will explain this is how long Sheamus has been wrestling, and this is the only title that he doesn't have. So I just think it makes sense for them to do it now. And your mention about Mania, if he loses now, I would have no interest in seeing a match like this at Mania. I mean, I know Mania is 2 nights, but I don't want them to do that. So they might as well just do it here and then kind of open the slate for Braun Breaker to, have something else.
Get on the hunt. Yeah. Rhea
Mm.
Ripley versus Nia Jax. I don't foresee this is just a
Oof.
grudge. I don't foresee them doing anything crazy. They're going to keep the title on Rhea. There's not much else to say. It'll be a good match.
Right. It will be a good match. They have had a match before back in Australia. in Rhea Ripley's home country, and Rhea Ripley was victorious in that match as well. And she got her up for the Annihilate, or not the Annihilate, she got her up for the Riptide, which everybody was so happy to see. So they're probably going to have another hot spot like that. I foresee a lot of a lot of false endings. You know, maybe Rhea gets hit with the Annihilator, kind of like how Bronson Reed did 5 tsunamis on Seth Rollins. What I want to see is Rhea Ripley will obviously be victorious, but I don't think I want this to be the bow tie for their matches. I think they can have a series of matches. Yes, Rhea has been victorious against Nia before, but I just think because there really isn't a lot of competition out there for Rhea, and we still have 2 more main events before WrestleMania, I think them doing a saga of matches with Nia Jax, kind of like how they did with Nia and Becky Lynch, it could be great. I think the way that they kind of set that up is Rhea Ripley does get the victory, but Nia still ends up standing on top. So maybe she does deliver 5 Annihilators, and then Rhea Ripley is like out of commission for a couple weeks, and then she comes back and challenges her for some kind of gimmick match at Royal Rumble or at Elimination Chamber. But yeah, Rhea Ripley will be victorious, but I still want them to make Nia look strong.
They can protect her with a disqualification. Have Candice LeRae
That's
maybe
true.
interfere. So I definitely would like to see that because I think, like I said, Nia has been having good matches with like everybody, and I think
Yes.
Rhea could definitely use this leading up into whatever's next. But yeah, a series of matches
Mm-hmm.
would be good, and I think she's gonna have the spot where she hits her, with the Riptide for the
Yes.
national audience on NBC. I can definitely see that spot happening, but I would like to see them not have a clean finish and just maybe a disqualification. She wins by disqualification, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna have a contract signing with uh, my goat, Shawn Michaels,
Heartbreak Kid.
the heartbreak kid between Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens. So
Mm-hmm.
I think the only question for this is Shawn Michaels going to take a bump? Is he going to take a package pile driver? That's the biggest question of the night for me.
Mm-hmm. No, exactly. I would be shocked. I mean, on NXT, he did let Eddie Thorpe give him a little bit of a nudge, but that's nothing compared to a package pile driver. So, Shawn Michaels may take a bump. He may take a package pile driver. I would be shocked. That'll definitely seal the deal for the ultimate terrible slimy thing Kevin Owens could do, because he's got his reasons for Cody Rhodes. He's got his reasons for Randy Orton. But I mean, come on, man, you can't do this. He's got bad hips. He's trying to help the
Yeah.
development roster. He's just like, don't do this to this man. So I think that they'll definitely create a very dramatic moment. We'll probably get some refs and some fake bodyguards out there to break up the chaos. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what Michael Sean Hickenbottom gets. We'll see if he takes a bump.
This whole
And
government name.
yeah,
I
full
honestly
government
want to
name.
see it. I want to see the package. But the thing is, though, when you get pile driven, you have to sell it and be off TV. Not like
Yeah,
he's on TV on NXT, so he
that's true.
can book from the back with a neck brace on. So
That's true.
if Tony Khan can go to the NFL draft with a neck
With
brace,
the next person.
Shawn Michaels can
Shawn
do
Michaels.
NXT with a neck brace on.
That is
Okay,
so
and what I think, and I think match placement is massive.
funny. Hmm.
Jey Uso versus Gunther. I think if this is your main event and not the contract signing, Jey Uso is walking out with that title. I think it's time. I think I
Hmm.
would like to see it. I think they want to do something big for NBC. Um, I think he's walking away. As far as Gunther, you can definitely, have him go through some changes or whatever without being. His whole stick he's been a champion the whole time he's basically been on a roster. So, and then with Jay, you got some maybe Roman Reigns storyline in the future. I don't know where else you go, but there's people on the roster that he can fight for the title. So I think he's walking out with that title.
Completely agree with you on the whole match placement thing. I would be very glum and disappointed if that isn't the case. But I mean, it's not that Gunther is bad or anything, but I just think that the choice of making Jay the champion would create a lot more for WWE. And also, right now, because of what we mentioned about The Rock previously, Jacob Fatu is the only puzzle piece that can progress this bloodline story. Should they bring the title back into the bloodline, meaning Jey Uso wins this title, there is now potential for them to re-enter that title into the bloodline because nobody wants to see Cody versus Roman, but we can have conversations about that later.
Well,
But
yeah.
I want to see Jey Uso win. I want the title to be blinged out in gems that are blue and pink and say yeet. So one can only hope that we end the night
So it won't have his
happy.
initials that have Yeet as the nameplates. Well, you know
Yes,
what? If he wins, he can go, hey, tribal chief, I'm a champion. You're
exactly.
not. So,
Exactly. You're not.
we have that. But again, these are predictions that we're actually making on Saturday. Um, so we'll react to these predictions. That's what I'm thinking. I'm hoping I'm right.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty, everyone. We want to thank you for watching. Please leave comments. We want discourse. We want to continue this discussion. Leave your opinions, agreeing with us or disagreeing with us. This is friendly. We're trying to build a community. But thanks for watching. Please drop a like. Please drop a subscribe, and be sure to tune in next time. Bye.
DDT Wrestling. Bye.
DDT Wrestling.
You just can't get up from that.